is weird, odd, strange, or just plain bizarre is really your cup of tea, then the Golden State Media Concepts Weird News Podcast will give you that fix. Can't believe it? Well, listen for yourself as we deliver the strangest news you definitely won't find on CNN or Fox. It's the Golden State Media Concepts Weird News Podcast.
Welcome to the GSMC Weird News Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network with your host, me, Ryan Holloway. How was Thanksgiving? You guys have a good time? Did you do a lot of Black Friday shopping? Because that's the thing. You know, you save up all your money all year long and you skimp on your Thanksgiving meal. So you eat like a cup of noodles for like 15 minutes, call some family members, maybe Skype them, and then say, hey, time to go shopping. Then you shop from 3 p.m. on Thanksgiving all the way until 3 a.m. Monday morning. Then you get on your computer all day Monday, calling sick for work, so you can order things offline, and then you go broke again. So congratulations on all that. Hopefully you guys ordered really, really nice things, and there are gifts that can be given away that people will enjoy, not just a tie that you got 16 for $1 at Walmart, and not a handful of buttons that you got 100 pounds of button for $16 at the craft store. Nobody wants that. If you're gonna go to Black Friday, please stand in line for things that people want. So I have a story for you guys about somebody trying to keep the streets safe. We all have those, how would you say, not neighborhoods. We all have those intersections in our neighborhood that are dangerous. Let's say there's a light that doesn't work very well, or there's a stop sign that people run all the time, or maybe it's the opposite, where it's a light that just doesn't work. So it's really long, which is safer than a stop sign nobody could see. A Florida man decided he was going to do something about this. The Florida man, John Homer, 61, was driven to prove a busy intersection in his neighborhood was unsafe. He said the police wouldn't do anything about it. Mr. Homer lives by this intersection, and he says that people run the stop sign all the time. All the time. He's called the police about it. They won't do anything about it. His wife has almost gotten into countless accidents because of the stop sign. No one seems to want to do anything about it. So he took it upon himself to go ahead and do something about it. Mr. Homer sat at the intersection and drove into the intersection as a car ran the stop sign and hit him. So he basically timed another car to run into him because the car was going to run the stop sign. Nobody was hurt. But after Mr. Homer's truck got smashed by the other truck, Mr. Homer got out of his car and said, you ran the stop sign, and this is the 10th accident at this intersection, and they won't do anything about it until someone dies. Mr. Homer took credit for the crash. According to investigators, this might not have been his first. They feel like he's been setting these up for a while. Mr. Homer was charged with 2 counts of aggravated battery with a deadly weapon and 1 count of reckless driving. He was released after posting a $20,000 bond. So let me get this straight. He drove into an intersection where he knew the stop sign he knew that people would run the stop sign all the time. He drove into the intersection. Someone ran the stop sign. They hit him. And then he got charged with, like aggravated battery with a deadly weapon. Now, I'm not going to say that the justice system is terrible. I'm not going to say it's raggedy. I'm just going to say that there's ways this can be better organized. Nowhere where I read this at did anyone take responsibility for the stop sign being ran all the time. No one took responsibility for the crashes that have happened. No one did any actual stats to see if he was right. They just blamed this guy for using an intersection properly and someone running into him. Now, this is one of those situations where this is weird news because, not because this guy's crazy and not because oh my God, I can't believe he did that. This is like a real life situation. This guy was like, yo, I'm going to save the world. Someone's gonna run this stop sign. They're gonna run into me. So he basically turned himself into a crash test dummy for the betterment of the world. And they took him to jail. Really? He's out here getting he's not getting his NASCAR on. He's not speeding. He's not playing crash derby. He's just driving, minding his own business. Somebody purposely ran a stop sign that they can't see. So maybe he's right. Maybe they won't be satisfied until someone dies. Hopefully they can get that worked out. I need someone like this in my neighborhood because we have a stop sign that nobody can see and people run it all the time. So I actually get to the stop sign and I look both ways to make sure that someone is going to use the stop sign, which no one ever does. So I take my hat off to this guy for, braving the odds and going ahead and saying, you guys know what? I'm going to take one for the team. I'm going to drive down the street in a safe manner, and someone's going to hit me with their car and I'm going to show you guys the stop sign is unsafe. So he went out of his way to show us the stop sign is unsafe. And you know what we did to thank him? You know what we did? We locked him up. So in the future, if you guys have unsafe stop signs in your neighborhood, just ignore them. Wait. If you have unsafe stop signs I don't know if that's the right thing to say. Oh, well, that's where we're at because he got arrested. So apparently we're not supposed to be making our streets safer. Fine. Want to know something that is safe? Reading. Such as reading Rainbow. You guys remember reading Rainbow? Remember? It was a guy, he had a rainbow, and then everyone would read on it. He was the guy from Star Trek who used to wear the sunglasses with the bedazzled thing. The black guy from Star Trek. His name is LeVar Burton. As you probably heard, LeVar Ball, the father of Alonzo Ball, the Laker, and LiAngelo Ball, the sunglasses enthusiast who decided to commandeer some sunglasses in China. LeVar Ball is beefing with Trump because Donald Trump got the kids out of jail, and LeVar Ball said, I don't feel like he did a lot and I'm not going to thank him. I'm not going to thank him. He didn't go visit my son in jail. It's not like he went and put his hand up against the glass and while Trump put his hand up against the glass and like, yo, I'll always be here for you. Always. Nothing like that happened. No tears were exchanged. Nothing like that. So Trump followers have been going incredibly bad. They've been unleashing outstanding amounts of vitriol towards LeVar Ball. However, they've been tagging the wrong LeVar. They've been tagging LeVar Burton, the guy from Reading Rainbow. They sent such tweets as, you're a washed up actor with a thief of a son. They also said, your ungrateful, unlawful parenting skills aren't doing much for the black community, LeVar. So this guy's minding his own business and he's being attacked by Trump supporters because his name is LeVar. Ironically, this isn't ironic. Actually, these two have nothing to do with each other at all. They kind of have the same name. LeVar Ball's name is LeVar. LeVar Burton's name is actually LeVardis. And they've been tagging him because his name is the same. And when I went on Twitter to go take a look at the people that were actually tagging LeVar Burton, it looks like they actually went to his profile and read about him and then wrote in the tweets. So they're not even the same. They're not even nearly almost the same person. Not even close. LeVar Ball is 6'5". LeVar Burton is 5'7". They're two completely different pigments. One is bald and one has a full head of hair. Somehow, some way, LeVar Burton has a full head of hair at the great age of 60, as though he's been attending the Deion Sanders College of Hairline Regeneration. But to each his own. When I get 60, I hope I have a full head of hair too. So I don't really know whether or not the people tagging LeVar Burton know that it's not the right person. And I'm not going to say that people that didn't watch Reading Rainbow don't know how to read. I'm just going to say it's not surprising that if you didn't watch Reading Rainbow, you can't read the difference between Burton and Ball. I don't find that surprising. So hopefully LeVar Burton gets to bounce back and he gets that figured out, because I'm not sure how you handle your Thanksgiving like that. You're minding your own business. Next thing you know, people are calling you a terrible father and a washed up actor all on the Twitter machine. Can you imagine? You're sitting there eating your nice turkey, eating your nice yams, maybe a little banana pudding, and your phone goes off. And you see you have a Twitter alert. And you're like, hey, I bet this is going to be some kid that I taught to read 30 years ago. He's going to tell me something like, hey, I got a PhD, Mr. Burton, and now I'm a scientist, and I'm going to solve chlamydia and cure the whole world. And everybody's going to be great, and no one's going to have to worry about it ever again. But no, you opened it, and people are just calling you terrible, terrible names, horrendous names, rude things. The most terrifying, disturbing thing about all this that I found was that a lot of these tweets that were on there, even after people like responded to these tweets and said, hey, did you know that you're talking about the wrong person? The tweets weren't deleted, as though someone was like, it's okay, whatever. I'll just leave this here. Everything's gonna be fine. No, you can't just call out the wrong person and call them an ungrateful, unlawful parent and the strain on the black community, and it's the wrong person. You not delete the tweet. It's not okay. You can't do that. Now, when I was reading over LeVar Burton's Twitter, it seemed like he had a pretty good sense of humor about it. He tagged LeVar Ball in the tweet, said something along the lines of, this is the plight I'm dealing with as of right now. Thank you, LeVar Ball. So he thought it was funny. He took it as a joke. It was cool. I'm just not 100% sure how people are supposed to get around this, because this is one of the most blatant acts of or responses of, I guess, mistaken identity ever. Like, you guys might as well have just mixed up Carmelo Anthony and Lil Wayne, because this is really, really bad. This is not good. This shouldn't happen. Someone on Twitter said jokingly, if LeVar Burton really cared about our president, he would just change his name and then make things easier for people, because that way we won't confuse the Reading Rainbow guy with the guy who has a son who plays for the Lakers and a son that has a sunglasses addiction in China. So maybe we'll work that out. Maybe we won't. We'll see what's going to happen. Just recently, Pound decided that they were going to let animals go home for the Thanksgiving weekend, or for the Thanksgiving week. So from Monday to like the next Monday, so to today, they're going to let animals that had been in the pound the longest go home with nice homes and just spend like a week or so at home, which is cool, right? Because if you're in the pound forever and you get to go out and spend like a week away, I'm going to say that's a good thing. However, I mean, I can say that's a good thing for the pound, because the pound lets the animals out. People go take the animals and they're like, oh, you know what? I really like Scruffy. You know what? Scruffy understands me. Scruffy understands my feelings. When I come home, Scruffy's here to listen. And you're like, I think I'm going to keep Scruffy. I'm going to have to keep Scruffy. Okay. We're going to keep Scruffy. And they keep Scruffy. That's what happens. But what happens when you don't keep Scruffy? What happens when you're like, you know what? Scruffy was fun, but I'm over it. You have to take him back. Now he's going to go back to the pound. Can you imagine? How do you leave the pound for a week and then you go back to the pound? You leave the pound for a week. You get to go outside, play in the grass. You get to be in someone's house where there's carpet. It's warm. Maybe they might give you tuna. Maybe they might give you steak. You were there for Thanksgiving, which means the leftovers were outstanding. So this means you're getting turkey bones. You're living life. You're having a good time. And you go back to the pound. I told you guys last week about how in Venezuela, the people were stealing animals from the zoo and eating them because there's no food there. What if someone from Venezuela came here just for Thanksgiving? It was like, hey, we're going to let somebody just camp at your house for Thanksgiving, and they're going to go back. And they were at your house for Thanksgiving. And you're like, yeah, Thanksgiving, yeah, cranberry sauce. And they're eating. Then they're like, okay, Thanksgiving's over. Time to go back to Venezuela. No! I don't really know if this is a fair thing to do for these animals. I get what the pound is doing by, letting, like, trying to do like a buyer's remorse type of thing. Not a buyer's remorse, but like the inverse of buyer's remorse. Like when you hold something in the store, and you're like, oh, I held this, now I have to buy it. Or when you test drive a car and it's like, you know what? This car understands me. This car fills my soul. This car is one with me. I knew this car in another life. I get what the pound is trying to do. I just think that when that doesn't quite work out, to go back to the pound as a pet, you ain't taking me back to the pound as a pet. If you let me out for a week and I get to go to nice people's houses for a whole week and you come to get me, I'm not going back. I'm not going back. That's in my movie bank robbery voice, where we just robbed the bank and now we're in the car and all the trucks are behind us, like all these SWAT trucks, and they got all these guns, are like, pull over. And I'm like, I'll look over to you because I'm driving and you're in the passenger seat. And I'll look at you and say, I'm not going back. That's what I'm saying if I'm scruffy. And that's just how I feel. So, bring them pets for the holidays. It's got its pros and cons, gift and curses. When I get back, I'm going to tell you guys about a statue that was low-key appropriate because people have dirty minds. I will be right back.
Check out the show built around the women of MMA. From the UFC to the extreme cage fighting, we got the fights covered.
Listen.
It's the Golden State Media Concepts Women's MMA Podcast. The latest news of upcoming fights, discussions of previous matches. Join us as we talk to and about the biggest names in women's mixed martial arts, past, present, and future. When it's the women's fight game, you know where to listen to. The Golden State Media Concepts Women's MMA Podcast.
Welcome back to the GSMC Weird News Podcast with your host, Ryan Holloway, on the GSMC Podcast Network. I was just telling you guys about how I hope your Thanksgiving was really well. Again, I can say it again. I hope your Thanksgiving went really well. I mentioned in the last segment about how there were some pets that got to come home for Thanksgiving to like homes that they're not necessarily from, and they get to hang out there for Thanksgiving. And after that, they go back to the pound, which I get it. Like, I understand the concept of it. I mean, yay, we're going to rent some pets. And if you like them, you'll keep them. And then we can like empty the pound. You know, I understand that. I just don't know. I'm not sure if I'm the pet and I'm not adopted, what that does to my self-esteem. Like, did they not like me? Was it my breath? Is it because I walk funny? Do they not like my voice? I don't know. I'm not sure how I'd deal with it if I got sent back to the pound. But like I said, if I leave the pound for a week and you're giving me Thanksgiving trimmings and stuffings, I'm not going back. Not going back. Anyhow, talking about Thanksgiving meals and stuffings and breads, a Catholic school in Australia was given a sculpture by a local artist. And when the two-dimensional concept of the plans for the statue were viewed, they were approved, and they said they liked the statue. But it turns out they didn't like the statue. So they said the statue ended up having to be covered up because of claims that it was too suggestive. It's a statue of a saint giving a boy a loaf of bread. Now, the statue is of the Saint Martin de Porres at a preparatory school. It shows the bread being held at crotch level as the smiling boy gazes up with a hand reaching for the loaf. Now, if you see this statue, I'm gonna say that I'm going to just say people have dirty minds, because the only reason I know this statue is kind of gross is because they told me it was kind of gross, because I didn't even get a chance to take a look at it really before it just said statue covered up for being gross and weird. And I'm like, oh, I'd like to see a statue that's gross and weird. I have to see that. Let me find out about a statue that's gross and weird, because I host a show on the GSMC Podcast Network called Weird News. Why wouldn't I want to see a statue that's gross and weird? Why? So I open it up, and it's a guy holding a piece of bread at crotch level and the boy looking up, reaching for the bread. Now, when I describe it like that and tell you that it's gross and weird, of course you're thinking like, that statue's super gross, it's weird, oh my God, why would somebody do something like that? But the more I look at it, the more It's gross. It's a gross and weird. It's a gross and weird statue. It's something they probably shouldn't have done. I don't know how that could have been drawn in a 2-dimensional way where you would think that that was okay, because it says that the concept was approved and it was supposed to be approved and everyone was okay with it, but suddenly they're not. They hired a new sculptor to redesign it. They asked a local artist how they felt about it. He said, "It's hilarious. It's absolutely hilarious. I love it. I love an art scandal." So I don't really know why. Again, I don't know how this was approved with the 2-dimensional concept, because they said it was drawn and it was approved. What was different in the 2-dimensional that isn't different now? Because a statue came and now it's 3-dimensional, right? Obviously, because it's a statue. And now people are like, whoa, that's not okay. That's not okay. And my thinking is this. My thinking is when they drew the statue, someone's like, yeah, that's a good idea. And then they put it up and some smart aleck was like, hey, you know what that looks like? They told somebody, then someone else told somebody, and then a bunch of kids made fun of it. And when a bunch of kids make fun of it, that's when you got to change it. I bet adults were like, whatever, it's just bread and a kid. But when kids were like, ew, you know what that looks like? Ew, that looks gross. Ew. Then when kids start making fun of it, kids are going home like, hey, we got a statue of a priest at our school and it looks like this, Mom. And Mom's like, wait, what? Show me on your phone, because every kid has a phone. And they're like, whoa, what? And they probably were Snapchatting it, making rude captions. And once something becomes a meme, you can't even. There's no way that you can do that. Especially because like Martin de Porres, the saint, he's the patron saint of mixed race barbers, public health workers, and innkeepers. So he's a saint of the people. He's a man of the people. You can't have him all on the block willy-nilly looking like he's holding his willy-nilly. It's not cool. It's not cool. So that's the gist of this statue thing. If you guys get a chance to see it, check it out. I'm going to post on our Twitter a little bit after the episode. And you just let me know, let me know how you feel about it, because I don't necessarily think that it's something that should have ever been approved. No matter what, it should have never been approved. There. Santa Claus got the boot from Britain. Well, he got the boot from Britain's National Trust, and that's the organizations of famous estates and homes, because they said he's too American. They reached out to one of the people that are in charge of basically distributing Santas and said, can we change the name to Father Christmas instead of Santa or Santa Claus, because we don't like it. And even though Santa Claus is an Americanization of the actual Dutch term Sinterklaas, Britain doesn't like it, and they're basically telling us to just to kick out Santa. They don't like the name Saint Nick. They don't like the name Santa Claus. They want him to be called the Father of Christmas, which I feel like that's similar to what's going on here in America, because we don't really do the Happy Holidays thing, or we don't really do the Merry Christmas thing. Got to be careful with that. You got to say Happy Holidays because, there's multiple holidays. We have to be respectable to everybody. However, I just think to just go off and just change this man's name from Saint Nick or Santa Claus to Father of Christmas, it's kind of contradictory, right? Can he be the Father of Christmas? I mean, I personally think that Father of Christmas sounds more forced, sounds more like a forced religious element than Santa Claus does. Father of Christmas? Like of all Christmas? Because if Jesus was born on Christmas and God is Jesus' dad, then how can Santa Claus be the father of the day that Jesus was born? Does that mean that Santa Claus is Jesus' grandfather, or is God is Santa Claus' son? See, now I'm confused. I'm gonna need Britain to do something about this Santa ban, because this Santa ban, it's not going to work for me. I think it's going to make people very upset, and it's going to cause a lot of uproars, and there's probably going to be a revolt. There's going to be a revolt, because we cannot take as a society any more of this we can't censor these holidays anymore. We can't. I'm not 100% sure why it's okay for us to just skip out on a whole turkey and go buy a bunch of sweaters for $15 at the mall, but it's not okay for us to call Santa Claus Santa Claus. He has to be Father of Christmas, which to me is confusing. I don't even know what that means. How's he be Father of Christmas? What if you don't celebrate Christmas? Then do you still call him Father of Christmas, or do you still call him the father formerly known as the Father of Christmas? It's confusing to me. So I hope that Britain gets this figured out. Well, you know what? They're not going to figure it out. From what I read, it looks like they're kicking Santa out of Europe, basically. They're getting rid of him. They said he can't live here anymore. And I guess Santa is officially a refugee. And he's going to have to come over here, and he's going to have to get on our system. We're going to have to make things work for him. Hopefully he can go to a sanctuary city like San Francisco, and he could still like live his life and feed his people, because are we even accepting refugees right now? Is that what we're doing? I'm not even sure I'm not even sure what international policy is on that right now. Or can we even take in Santa? Can we take him in? Or we're going to just have to ask somebody, because I'm not 100% sure. If we can't take him in, then what's he going to go do? Is he just going to go live? He's just going to go. I don't know. This is saddening. I'm not happy about this at all. And I say that if Santa wants to come back to America, I don't know why he left in the first place, but if he wants to come back to America, then we are going to have him here with open arms. I'm going to have more Santa Claus news for y'all, because as time progresses, as we get closer and closer into these holidays, because I swear it was just Halloween like a couple days ago, but after the jack-o'-lantern stopped being sold, somehow we put Christmas lights up on our houses immediately. So I'll be back with more of that. I'm going to ask you to enjoy your Monday. I'm going to ask you to enjoy your week, and I will see you in another 7 days. This has been Ryan Holloway on the Weird News Podcast, brought to you by the GMC Podcast Network. You have an amazing day. Live long, prosper. Watch out for potholes.